Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Debbie Morris and I'm a UK artist from the south coast of England. And you can find me online under the banner of Portraits by Debbie K. Morris. As promised, this is part 2 and the final part of a painting that I did called The Three Wise Hares, which was an adaptation and a bit of fun of the Three Wise Monkeys. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Just a quick reminder that this has been created using pastels and pastel mat board. I'll pop a quick screen capture of the basic materials that we used. So let's jump straight in, because I mentioned in my previous part 1 video that this whole picture took me around 25 hours. About 25% of that was covered in my first video where I showed you how I put down the underlayers. And in this video I want to show you how I start layering on and adding the details on top to give that realistic fur effect. So I'm going to run this video at quite high speed. Just so that you can see the process that I use going through, but as we get onto the second hare I'll start slowing it down a little. I can't slow it down too much because this whole video would just take way too long otherwise, but I'll start slowing it down a little bit so that you get to see more clearly how I actually work. And then as we get to the third hare I'll speed back up again and you can watch that through. And then I'm going to slow us down again when we get to the whiskers, because that's a whole nother subject. So that completes hare number 1, and I've now moved us on to hare number 2. And although I appreciate this is still speeded up quite a lot, but it's a bit slower than the previous one. So I'm hoping it's going to allow you to start to see in a bit more detail how I go through the process. You'll see with each of these that essentially I will always start laying down the darkest colours first. It gives me my basis, and then I will gradually build up to the lighter and lighter colours. As we get further down to the back of the hair I'll explain this to you a bit more. But in the meantime, I will leave you to just watch this one progress a bit further, and I'll jump back in a second. So just wanted to come back in here really because this bit is where I think it really does show how we build up the layers and how each layer adds to the next and starts to give that real sense of depth of fur and reality. So just have a watch through and notice, try and be mindful of how each layer is going down and what it looks like at each point, because as we get towards adding the highlights, you'll really notice it start to pop. So you can see that's another layer done. So that's kind of layer number 2. And as we move into this next section, I go back up to the top and start adding yet another layer. And as before, I'll work all the way down to the bottom of that section. And then we start to get a real sense of how much more we need to add. So here we go. This is our third layer done now, and for all intents and purposes, that starts to look quite good. But now, if you notice now, I pick up the white pencil now. Now it's time for that final layer, which is what gives us the shine on the coat, and the real sort of pop of the picture. And you can see as we go through, just by adding that little bit of highlight to the edge of each section of fur, that's when you really start to get that depth of fur and the sense that of each little section of fur and the curls and the movement in the coat. So I'm going to leave you to watch this one through, and then I'll come back in and well the third hair actually runs straight afterwards, and that again runs out quite fast, but the process is exactly the same that I follow. So I'm going to leave you to watch those through, and then I'm going to pop back in and chat to you at the end. You'll notice throughout this picture that every so often I turn the work on its side. That's mostly because I just find it much easier to get a much cleaner hair stroke when I'm pulling my stroke downwards rather than trying to pull it acrossways. So I tend to just turn my work to suit which way the direction of the fur. I just find it much easier to do that way. This is particularly for me when it's long fur like we've got on this arm. Just the longer the fur, the easier I find the flow of a stroke going down rather than across. So here we go, hair number 3, just the final process on this one, all speeded up really fast. I hope it's still good enough for you to be able to see what you want to see, but if you want to feedback to me that you want it slower, faster, too long, too short, all of this is really helpful. I'm still really new at this, so I really appreciate any feedback you can give me. If you can put comments on here, then great. And if you can't, then do feel free to jump across to my Facebook page. I'll put the link in at the end, and you can jump across there and offer any comments or suggestions or things you'd like to see. All of it's very welcome. So I'll let this one run through just to its finish, and then I'm going to pop back in and talk to you a little bit about whiskers, because that's a whole nother story from my point of view. Okay, so here we are. It's that dreaded time. It is whiskers time. I've not met an artist yet who doesn't kind of cringe at the idea of whiskers. I definitely do. I always try and approach it with a very calm attitude, and then I get very anxious. It's the one point of your picture where you've put in so much work into the whole of the rest of the picture, and you can ruin it in a moment. And for some reason, I just have a real phobia of whiskers. So I needed the bleep machine quite a lot for this bit. And you'll see the eraser coming in on several occasions here. But I get there in the end. And I suppose that's the main thing. But I just slowed this down a bit so that you can actually see the process. By way of courtesy, again, I'd like to offer my sincere thanks to the photographers of these wonderful hares. That's Frances Crickmore and Sue Cross, who do post some marvellous pictures of hares and other animals that they see during their day. So we're almost at the end now. I do hope you've enjoyed this. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I'd love your feedback in one way or another. Please hit the thumbs up if you've enjoyed what you've seen. I'd love it if you wanted to subscribe. There's no cost for this, but it does help you keep updated, and it helps me to develop my page, gives you notifications of when new things are being posted. You can also follow me on my Facebook or Instagram pages. I do lots of posts on there. You'll get updates on all my work and the latest events that I'm involved in. So I will put the links to those in here as well. So thanks so much. Thank you for spending time with me. I hope I see you again, and I will post another video very soon.